Welcome into the Will Gunner Show, where we are trying all kinds of new things here. Not even back in the studio. We're back in the house today. So I got fishing rods over my right shoulder and the lake over my right shoulder. But we're joined by my good buddy I've known for a long time, Brian Edwards. You can see his Twitter handle there, Vegas B Edwards. You can kind of see his sweatshirt too. He's got an incredible podcast, the Southeastern 16, in which you can go and check out. Brian, welcome. We've never actually done anything like this. We figured we'd give it a try, put this out on the internet. But real quick, before we really get into it, explain Southeastern 16 and what you guys got going on there.
Yes, so Southeastern 16 is a YouTube channel. My friend T from Nashville, who has a beach house down here where I live in Santa Rosa Beach, he's a big Vandy fan, and he's got a couple of Vandy media guys with this YouTube channel that, you know, they just kind of started off just doing some SEC coverage, and it's kind of become a pretty big thing. And they brought me on part-time. I did a podcast for them weekly for about a year and a half, 2 years. Now we've kind of branched out. We put the podcast on hiatus for a minute, and we're just doing right now I'm doing season win total videos, like 2 or 3 teams a week. And so when you asked me about this, I just did LSU last week. So I got like 4 pages of notes on LSU Tigers. And then we talked about some week 1 games that we're going to talk about. So I'm prepared through my Southeastern 16 work to tackle a couple of these topics we're going to hit on.
Good. Well, let's get into it a little bit with you. Again, you can always follow him on Twitter at Vegas B Edwards. Check out his great work, majorwager.com, and of course Southeastern 16 there as well. So we're going to look today. We're here wrapping up the end of April. Before you know it, it's going to be college football season, the first week of the season. We will get into some good games that week. And I know for me personally, I think for you with your Gators, we don't have bye weeks, but we essentially have bye weeks. South Carolina gets Kent State. I don't know who the John Summerall era. Who does the John Summerall era open up with? You know off the top of your head?
I am absolutely blanking, but I know it's a layup. It's I'm blanking, but it's a FCS team. So you're right. There's no spread on the game right now, and it is a layup. Kent State is close to an FCS team as you can get. They're one of the worst in the MAC. So we both got layups to start the season, and that's okay. Neither team. We're both coming off losing seasons, and I just assume have a layup and not have any week 1 suspensions getting in the way of a big game like we so often have. And that's the thing with gambling on week 1 games. You always got to worry about suspensions from missing a curfew or whatever, or getting a misdemeanor weed charge that got swept under the rug, or, you know, there's always 1 game suspensions in week 1 that you don't know about until about a half hour before kickoff. So I'm glad we both got layups to start the year.
Florida Atlantic for the Gators, and then Campbell in week 2. So actually very, very similar to South Carolina. South Carolina gets Kent State and then Towson. And then Florida in week 3, the Summerall era really gets going as they will travel Jordan Hare to take on Auburn. So, yeah, very similar, just like almost with the exception of Florida going on the road, a very similar 3-game start. And we look forward to definitely talking with you as we get closer to, I believe it's October 5th. Which will be a monster game for South Carolina going into the bye week, and they will actually come down there to Gainesville. I might actually be there. I think that's the one that my son wants to go to this year. And the experiences in Gainesville, aside from the losses, have been phenomenal. The losses have been brutal. There was one of the last Lou Holtz games in which I think Dallas Baker just ran a crossing route 39 times and racked up 390 yards, received something ridiculous. They clobbered us. And then the next time I go is Spurrier's first time back down there, and it's the blocked field goal.
Y'all beat Spurrier outcoached the heck out of I call him Oscar Liar, but Urban Meyer. Spurrier outcoached the hell out of him in that game.
It was
Florida got extremely lucky.
That's one of the 3 loudest moments I would say I've ever been in a football stadium for. That was a fun weekend, but that was a rough ending to the game. But let's talk
week one. We were there for 36-14 when Lattimore ran all over us.
I was there for that, and was it somebody ran Florida wore all blue that night. Somebody ran the opening kickoff back. Was it Andre? Might have been Andre DeBose ran the opening kickoff back on South Carolina.
Sounds like a good guess. Andre DeBose is a very good guess. It probably was him.
And I thought we were in trouble. And then you're right. Lattimore just took over. The defense took over. And yes, for a Gamecock, that was a celebratory night. I think I might, and we'll move on. I might have cried the next day when I realized, hey, we won the SEC East. We're going, of course, then we go and get stomped by Auburn.
That was a pretty good Auburn team, though. That won the national title. So that's nothing to be ashamed of.
Well, let's look at week one. And let's start with what appears to be the really big one. It'll be the debut of Lane Kiffin. It'll be another show me type game for Clemson. Both teams trying to figure out the quarterback situation. That's going to be really interesting, at least with LSU. They've got Sam Leavitt coming in, so you have college experience. Clemson's trying to figure out the quarterback situation. They just had 9 guys drafted in the NFL draft. 9 guys drafted, Brian. So you look at this game, and I just flashed up the line there. It is LSU again, minus 10.5 at Clemson, and you've got some thoughts on this one early.
I do. So LSU's loaded, man. Number 1 recruiting class in the country. They don't return, a ton of guys. I mean, a couple running backs, Caden Durham, Harlem Berry. They do have an All-American candidate and tight end, Tradez Green. They got Whit Weeks, the linebacker, who was first-team All-SEC 2 years ago before injuries kind of held him up last year. They got a corner in DJ Pickett, who had a really good freshman season. Got a veteran D lineman, Gabe Relaford. But most of LSU's talent is coming from the portal. Like 5, they got 3 5-star transfers. Jordan Seaton, the offensive tackle from Colorado. Sam Leavitt, as you mentioned. Prince William Million, the number 5 overall player in the portal, number 1 defensive end, who came with Kiffin from Ole Miss. They got 2 5-star freshmen that are coming in on the D-line. Lamar Brown rated the number 4 player in the country in this 2026 cycle. And Richard Anderson ranked the number 8 player. They bring in TJ Daugherty, one of the best linebackers in the SEC from Ole Miss. They've got so many good guys out of this portal class. I mean, 4-star transfers galore. Winston Watkins, a wide receiver from Ole Miss. They've also got Jordan Ross, a defensive end from Tennessee. They've got Trey Brown, a wide receiver from ODU. They got Eugene Trey Wilson from Florida, a wide receiver that led Florida in receiving yards way back in 2023. They got J.C. Brown, Kansas State's best receiver, who in the last 3 years, 1,972 receiving yards. They got a safety from Boise State, who was the number 2 safety in the portal, number 40 player overall, and Ty Benefield. So LSU's just absolutely loaded. And then you look at Clemson. I mean, when you're making progress, so to speak, because you've signed 10 guys out of the portal, I mean, come on, Dabo, get with it, man. I mean, I know you're slowly coming around to the new era of college football, but come on, man. And, I mean, you couldn't go get a more experienced quarterback. You got no experience at your quarterback position. Dabo has just let the new era of college football pass him by, and I think LSU is going to smash Clemson. Like you said, 9 guys to the draft, and Clemson wasn't very good to begin with last year. And I like LSU to roll in this game.
So there's that. That's the opening. We'll continue to monitor that as we go through the summer months. But obviously, as we just said, a vast difference in this game, especially given where they were at Memorial Stadium last year and now heading down to the actual Death Valley. The game will be a night game, I believe. I can't remember if that's already been announced or not, which is going to make that.
I'd be shocked if it's not.
Yeah, I would assume. I think Texas, Ohio State is the following week, maybe the third week. I can't remember off the top of my head. LSU Clemson will likely be the ESPN game day game there. So a lot of bourbon, a lot of whiskey, a lot of etouffee crawfish, and so forth and so on, and it'll be quite the atmosphere down in Baton Rouge. Let's go up to Nashville, not for Vanderbilt, but for Mississippi and Louisville that'll hook up. Mississippi, Pete Golding will be making his first year debut, but he's coached 2 important games so far. Louisville and Jeff Brom. I'm a Jeff Brom fan, but I feel like I'm kind of waiting for Louisville to break out. Mississippi, you've got it as -7. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I like Ole Miss here. So, I said how Kiffin's got the #1 recruiting class in the country. Golding got the number 13 overall class, but he got the #2 class in terms of transfer specific guys. And just like it was with Kiffin, man, they're building through the portal. They still got great NIL. I mean, Ole Miss coming off a semifinal appearance, and they did great work in the portal. But, the big thing is they got Trinidad Chambliss back, and they got Kewan Lacey back, and what a great start that is. One of the best quarterbacks in the country, perhaps the best running back in the country. Both guys just coming off spectacular seasons, and they got plenty of talent added to the fold out of the portal. They got a 4-star wide receiver in Darren Gill from Syracuse, another really good receiver from Syracuse, and Jonte Cook, and just all around loaded up with 4-star transfers. Edwin Joseph, a safety from FSU, Carius Kern, offensive tackle from LSU, Makai Boro, defensive tackle from Florida that's been really good for the Gators the last couple of years. They added a corner in Sharif Denson from Florida who's got tons of experience. They got Jalen Crawford, an outstanding cover corner from Auburn. Just loaded up with talent galore, but they bring a lot of really good talent back. And look, I like Jeff Brom too, and I don't have anything bad to say about Louisville. Obviously, they're going to be going with a new starting QB. But Brom, I mean, look, man, he had Purdue in the Big Ten championship game a few years ago. The dude can coach, and I don't have anything bad to say about Louisville. But with Chambliss and Lacey, Ole Miss is going to be a wrecking ball offensively again. And I know we're going to go back to LSU in a minute. I think Ole Miss is going to beat LSU in Oxford this year and have another big season. And I think they'll cover the 70s Louisville.
All right. So Ole Miss, Louisville, that game is going to be in Nashville. Let's go to game 3 that you like on opening weekend. And this will be SMU at Florida State. And with Florida State, we're kind of waiting for Mike Norvell to get that program back on track and get it back to being the winner that they were. This is a pivotal year for him, and they're going to open up with SMU and Rhett Lashley, who gets the contract extension. Thought he might have left in some of the offseason changes, but he's still there at SMU. They got all kind of oil money. They're spending it. They're having a good time, and you like the Mustangs -2.5.
I do. More than anything, it's going against FSU. Mike Norvell is a dead man walking. They wanted to fire him. They just didn't have the funds to do it. The buyout is so enormous from when they went undefeated several years ago, and he inked that huge extension. They can't get rid of him. They actually I thought they were going to not give him any NIL money. They gave him some NIL money. He had a decent transfer class come in, but SMU's the better team. They're off 2 really big seasons. They've got Kevin Jennings back, who's now got a 55-26 TDI-INT ratio for his career. He's also got 10 career rushing touchdowns. They added a 4-star transfer. Big kid, 6'3", wide receiver out of East Carolina, Yannick Smith, who's got 69 receptions, 1,017 yards, 8 touchdowns. The last 2 years, they also added a tight end, 4-star transfer from A&M, Theo Melanostrom. They got a really good running back from Cal, Kendrick Raphael, who last year had 943 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns. And SMU's bringing back 3 starters on the O-line. I've got a really good receiver in Yamir Knight and also Jalen Cooper, another a receiver that as a true freshman had 321 receiving yards, couple touchdowns. That they're expecting him to make a big jump. But more than anything, this is fading FSU. FSU is not going to be any good, and SMU should be favored by 6 or 7 in this game, in my opinion. And I think SMU puts it on the nose and starts another nightmare season for FSU that'll actually – FSU fans are in what I call Zook mode. When Ron Zook was coaching Florida, I just rooted for us to lose because my best interests were in the future of the program. And I think FSU fans are in Zook mode with Norvell. They just want to lose and get this nightmare over with and start fresh.
One note on that, I think it was released last week, Florida State, basically after spring, announcing that Ashton Daniels, the Auburn transfer, will be the starting quarterback. And I'm with you. Ashton Daniels is kind of a mid, in my opinion, at least going into the season, is a mid-tier quarterback. This is not a guy that's going to elevate that program, especially not like they thought some of the previous guys could do that didn't really live up to the hype. So, maybe not having the same hype helps. But I'm with you, and we'll see where Mike Norvell kind of ends up when we get to December of 2026. Those are the three games. Let's, again, recap them for just a second. Then we'll get to a season line that you got. But, again, LSU minus 10.5 there against Clemson. Mississippi and Pete Golding, who you're very high on, minus 7 against Louisville, and SMU minus 2.5 on the road at Florida State. And you've got a season line, a season over-under victory total that has jumped out to you here early on in the spring.
Yeah, LSU's win total is 8.5. I just talked about their personnel. So I broke down their schedule into a couple of categories. I've got 6 games where I think they're going to be very heavily favored, double digits, and I'm giving them wins in those games. That's the one we talked about, Clemson at home, games at home to La Tech and McNeese, and then at Kentucky, at Arkansas, and Mississippi State at home. I think those are 6 wins that I can say I'm super confident in. Then I got 5 games where I think they'll probably be single-digit favorites at Ole Miss, A&M at home, at Auburn, Bama at home, and at Tennessee. I mentioned I think they're going to lose at Ole Miss, but I feel pretty good about them getting the other 4. Now, these other ones they're all hard. I mean, anytime you go to Jordan-Hare, you never know. At Tennessee, difficult, but I don't think Tennessee's going to be very good at the quarterback position. And then A&M and Bama at home, I'm going to lean LSU that way. So I'm going to make that 5-game set 4-1. They could go 3-2 there, but I'm going to say 4-1. And then they've got 2 games, or I'm sorry, they've got one other game that I think will be tightly lined. I'm not sure who will be favored, and that's going to be Texas at home. And I'm going to say Texas wins that, but that still has me with LSU going 10-2, and it's over 8.5. I like to have a 1.5 game cushion if I'm going to bet a season win total. Now, again, I mentioned those 5 games that I said they're single-digit favorites. They could lose 2 of those, but I'd be okay. That would be 9 wins, and it'd still be a winner. So I like LSU's win total over 8.5. I'm sure some people, after LSU's just gone total villain role with Will Wade and Lane Kiffin, and some people might not want to bet that because they don't want to root for them, and I understand that. But I like to root for my money.
There you go. All right. So we've got LSU win total, again, over 8.5, LSU minus 10.5 against Clemson on opening weekend, Mississippi minus 7 against Louisville, and SMU minus 2.5 for Florida State. So those are your picks. We'll continue to do some of this stuff with Brian throughout the summer as we get set for the season, and he continues to evaluate the lines. But Brian, we appreciate it. Once again, tell everybody how they can follow you, how they can kind of talk to you on Twitter, and I'll put down here Major Wager and Southeastern 16.
You got it covered for me right there, Gunner. I appreciate you. Major Wagers, where I do all my writing and my content. Southeastern 16 videos like this, and then Vegas Insider. I also still sell some picks, and at Vegas B Edwards on Twitter. Reach out to me anytime. Thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate it and enjoyed it.
Always enjoy talking to you, man. Make sure you catch him. He joins us on the radio program as well. We'll be talking NBA this week as he's got the handicaps for all the games that are coming up, or most of the games that he likes. That's the key thing, right? You don't just take games. You take games that you like. That's the big thing about doing it, right?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And NBA has been a little up and down for me in these playoffs, but hopefully I'll have some good ones ready for you on Friday.
Well, Brian, I always appreciate it. Look forward to catching up here in the near future.
Thanks, buddy.
Take care.